Good afternoon. This is Jeffrey Meldon welcoming you to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm going to have a great show for you today. We have one of the most interesting guests that we've had on this show over the past couple years. Before we get into that, I want to start out with what's happening around Gator sports and around North Central Florida. As many of you know, Meldon Law is the only official injury law firm partner of the Florida Gators, and we score a bunch of tickets for all the sporting events, and we in turn turn around and give them away on our Facebook page, Meldon Law. So if you want free tickets and other giveaways, just go to Meldon Law, and you will be able to score some incredibly good seats for terrific events. For example, Gator basketball. We've got a couple big games coming up. Tennessee, we're giving away 2 tickets for the Tennessee game that's on February 1st. The February 11th game against Vanderbilt, we're giving away 2 tickets, and we're going to have a fan fest. So what happens at the Fan Fest is we have a big wheel of fortune, and everybody comes to the Meldon Law tent, which is inside of the O-Dome, the Exact Tech Arena, and we let everyone spin the wheel. Everyone wins a prize. There on the wheel, there's no you lose on it. Everything is a win. So it's really fun for the kids. It's fun for the adults. We give away really neat prizes. And we've been doing it now for a couple of years, and the response is terrific. So, again, that's February 11th, the Vanderbilt basketball game. Join us for Fan Fest. We've got another game, Ole Miss. We're giving away 2 tickets for the Ole Miss game. And Kentucky, February 22nd. Kentucky is Meldon Law Day at the O-Dome. And they're going to be giving away a T-shirt, a Gator T-shirt, to everyone who attends. So we'll have over 10,000 shirts, because the O-Dome capacity is, I think, 11,900, something like that, close to 12,000. Anyhow, we're going to have shirts for everybody. They're free. I don't know if the Kentucky fans are going to be wearing them or not, but if you see an extra Gator shirt with a Meldon Law logo on it, grab it, because the Kentucky fans are kind of loyal to the Big Blue. So, take advantage of it. A couple other things going on. Let's see. We have a Gator gymnastic giveaway coming up on February 10th, Missouri. We're giving away 2 prime seats. The last time I checked, the seats that we're giving away were selling on Ticketmaster for $400 a piece. I'm telling you, the Gator women's gymnastic team is absolutely incredible, and they're so much fun to watch. When you go to a Gator meet, you are seeing an Olympic caliber team. You could probably take the Gator gymnastic team, put them in the Olympics, and they'd be in the top 5 of all the competitors out there. That's how good they are. Trinity Thomas is probably the best gymnast in the country. Well, she was voted the best gymnast last year, so why not keep it going? She's got 24 perfect 10s in her career. For those of you that don't know what a perfect 10 is in gymnastics, wait till you see it. When you see it, you'll believe it. But she does stuff on all 4 of the events that are just amazing. So take advantage of it. If you can't get to the event, all the Gator gymnastic events are on Friday night, and they're broadcast on the SEC network along with other gymnastic events from the SEC. And it's really a lot of fun. We Had some friends over for dinner the last time the Gators were on TV, and we sat around, had some wine, watched the Gator gymnastics, cheered them on, and they're really quite good. So the next one is Missouri coming up February 10th, and then there's another one on February 24th. Kentucky's coming to town. Kentucky's had some pretty good teams. I think they're in the top 15 in the country this year. We beat Auburn a couple weeks ago. Auburn was ranked number 4 or 5 in the country. So check out the Gators. There's 3 or 4 teams that look like they're going to be competing for the national championship. The Gators, Oklahoma, you've got Michigan, and maybe Utah. So those are your top 4 teams right now. But as you can tell, I'm very enthusiastic about our Gator gymnastics, and I promise you, money back guarantee. If you go to a Gator gymnastic event, you will love it. And if you happen to win 2 of our tickets, you will really get some incredible seats. It's like being on the 50-yard line, seeing all the events and what's going on. So that's what's going on with Gator Sports, and Meldon Law is in the middle of it. Again, go to our Facebook page, Meldon Law, and all of the giveaways that we are talking about are there. So enjoy it, and you will have a great time when you win. If you keep entering, you will win. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, and it's amazing how many people come up to me and say, I won tickets, we had a great time, I took the kids, we went, did this, that, and other things that we like to bring joy to the community and support our great Gator athletics. Many of you, of course, follow football closely. However, the other Gator events are incredible. The other teams are top-notch. Baseball's coming up. We've been ranked as high as number 2 in the country by different rating services. We've got 2 or 3 major league pitchers on our team, or future major league pitchers, plus the best hitter in the country. We got a loaded team, so it's going to be fun, and you can come out to the Condren Family Ballpark. And what's really neat for the baseball, and meanwhile, baseball is starting in 2.5, 3 weeks. In the middle of February, baseball starts in Gainesville, both the women's and the men's. And they built the men's baseball stadium, which was just opened 2 years ago, so that you can relax out in the right or left field on the grass with a blanket and some bring a picnic basket or whatever and have a good time and enjoy the Gators. Some other big things coming up. February 24th, the Matheson Museum, which is a historical museum in Alachua County. Actually, many of you don't know this, but Alachua County back, a couple hundred years ago, stretched all the way down to Tampa. So Alachua County Museum, I think they go back to the early 1800s as far as things going on, but Gainesville, Florida really got going sometime like in the 1860s. We trace our founding back to 1851, 2, 3, something like that. The University of Florida says they started in 1853, but I don't think there was more than 3 students in the classroom back then, so it's not much of a university. However, Gainesville itself really got going during the 1870s and 80s, and a lot of people moved down here. Anyhow, the Matheson Museum is quite an incredible museum where you can see what it was like at the turn of the century and before. They have many of the artifacts have been saved. When you walk in there, it looks like a general store right at the entranceway, and there's terrific stories and books that are available if you want to read some great books. And they always have featured stories about the history of Gainesville, Florida. Well, I moved to Gainesville in 1970, and about 3 or 4 years later, the opportunity to start and found a performing arts theater came about. It's called the Great Southern Music Hall. And during the 70s, the music scene here was vibrant. Many of you don't know, but we had 9 Hall of Fame members come from the city of Gainesville. And, of course, there's Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. All of the Heartbreakers are in it, so that's 5. And then you have Bo Diddley, of course. Our plaza downtown is named after Bo. He wasn't born here, but spent most of his remaining years of his life, last 30 years or so, in the Alachua County area. And there's 2 members of the Eagles. Let's see, Bernie Ledden and Don Felder. And, of course, Stephen Stills from Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. So Gainesville has a rich music tradition. And when I came here in 1970, I was involved with Tom Petty. I was Tom Petty's first attorney, as a matter of fact. And we also did the Mudcrutch Festival together, and I was very much involved in producing music around the area. Well, when the Florida Theater, which was a movie theater, became available, Jim Forsman and myself took the opportunity to enter into a long-term lease with the owner of the theater, and we started what's called the Great Southern Music Hall. So February 24th, we are going to be at the Matheson Museum, and the Matheson Museum has been transformed into a story of the music scene back in the 1970s in Gainesville, Florida. It's an amazing exhibit. Just go to mathesonmuseum.org and you'll be able to see everything you need as far as what their hours are and how it's free. You don't have to worry about paying anything to get in. However, you want to make sure they're open. So I know that they're generally open around noon, and they go to about 4 o'clock most days, so check them out. However, you're going to really enjoy the exhibit at the Great Southern Music Hall, and we feature the great photography of John Moran. John Moran was and still is a very famous photographer, and he really wound up changing the scene in Gainesville as far as both music photography and then later on nature photography. You see some of his incredible work throughout Gainesville. Any of you that have been to the Santa Fe College Spring Arts Festival know John Moran's work because he always exhibits there. And I would strongly encourage you to come and see the photography and the storytelling at the exhibit. Bill DeYoung, who was the Gainesville Sun music writer for 30 years, agreed to do the stories about each of the musicians. There's even a QR code, and when you put your phone up, you'll get a YouTube video with that musician playing one of their favorite songs. So it's free. It's here in Gainesville. Remember, the Matheson Museum, and you will be able to really have a great time. February 24th, but you got to register ahead of time. So just go to Matheson Museum, Google it, and register. It's free, 7 p.m. on a Friday night, food and drinks included. We're going to get ready to take a 3-minute break, and we'll be back on Meldon Law and Friends.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, 2 things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you. Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
I was going down a one-way street and a girl that was driving her car T-boned me on my scooter. I ended up going for an MRI and discovering that I had 2 herniated discs. Coming to Cary allowed me to not have to worry about what doctor I was going to see or what physical therapist I had to go to. They say, these are the people we trust. You're going to have a great experience there, and I honestly did each time.
Call Meldon Law. Your consultation is absolutely free.
I was driving behind a lady, and very suddenly she moved out of the way. There was a log laying in the road, and when I hit my brakes, I went on top of the log. I had 2 herniated discs. I just haven't been the same since. Jeffrey Meldon fought for me all the way. Him and his team really went there for me. Throughout the whole lawsuit, he made sure that my bills was paid. It was never no whenever I called him and asked him for something.
Call Meldon Law right now.
And I was in an accident. Someone ran a red light and hit me, and I was hurt. You don't know where to turn. Luckily, I called Jeffrey. These big insurance companies, they don't want you to win. They truly don't. But Jeffrey and his firm and the people that work here, they just really fight for you. You call the law offices of Jeffrey Meldon, because you're going to need help, and they will help you.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Hey, Sammy, look who's there. Say hi.
Hey!
You again!
Meldon Law, Jeffrey speaking.
Jeffrey! Somebody else hit us!
Here we go again. Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder of Meldon Law and attorney. We help people who are seriously injured in crashes, usually involving cars and trucks, but sometimes motor scooters, sometimes golf carts, sometimes skateboards. There's all kind of stuff that happens. Sometimes pedestrians. So anyhow, if you ever have the need, give us a call at Meldon Law. There's our website, meldonlaw.com. You can give us a call at the office, 352-373-8000. We've been serving North Central Florida since 1971. As a matter of fact, we're giving away $19.71 for every free throw made by the Gator basketball teams, men's and women's. So that's something new this year, and it's pretty exciting. All the money is going to the Alzheimer's Foundation. So please remember that we're here to help, and if you have an organization, reach out to us. We'd be glad to have you on our podcast or our radio show. I'm here today with Paul Gregory from the Mill Creek Farm. And Paul, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here today.
Well, good. We've been chatting a little bit before the show, and I'm just amazed at what goes on at the Mill Creek Farm. Tell us a little bit about where you're located and what goes on out there.
Well, we're located in the great city of Alachua at 20307 Northwest County Road 235A, very close to Santa Fe High School. And the farm was founded 39 years ago by my parents, Peter and Mary Gregory. And our mission is to take in elderly horses over 20 years of age that have been seized by law enforcement in cruelty cases. And we also take in active police and military horses. We feel they've done their public service and they deserve a good retirement. And once they come through our gates, they're never worked or ridden again. And they spend the rest of their lives there with us with all the feed, hay, dental, farrier, vet care that they need.
Wow, that's really an incredible service because horses, just like human beings, need dignity in their old age.
That's exactly right. That's what we feel like. We feel like just because a horse is old just like a dog or a cat doesn't mean that they don't deserve, or just like a person doesn't mean that they shouldn't have the same respect and dignity that they had when they were younger.
Now, your mom and dad started this place, right?
They did. They were dating in the 1950s when they met at the University of London, and they both realized they had a love for animals and fell in love, and they would go to a farm on the outskirts of the city, and this farm would allow workhorses to relax like 2 weeks every year, and they would go out and feed the horses snacks and stuff, and they decided one day if they could ever afford to do it, they'd like to do something like that, except they would like to do something a little different where when the horses retired there, they stayed forever. They didn't go back to work. And flash forward like 30 years later, my father was in the hotel business, sold their properties in South Florida, and came up to Alachua and started with 144 acres.
Wow, that's a big size property. How many acres is the property now?
Well, with the incredible help of our awesome donors, volunteers, and supporters, we've grown to 335 acres.
Wow. Now, so does the amount of land that you have help determine how many horses you're able to take care of?
Well, so basically, we feel very comfortable at around 150 horses. We know we have enough people, we have enough finances, and we have enough land to take in the horses. We could take in more, but that 150 number is a nice, comfortable zone for us. They say 2 acres per horse, but that's more younger horses. So a lot of these older horses, you know, we get horses with like arthritis, and we have horses that are blind. We have horses that our dentist likes to say they've outlived their teeth, so they're not grazing. We have to give them special mashes and stuff. So every case is different, but you know, 20 is very young for us. Our oldest guy, RC, is 45 years old.
Wow. And I know the average age, we looked this up on Google, the average age is between 25 and 30 as far as the lifespan for a horse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got lots of oldies but goodies on the farm.
Absolutely. We got lots in their 30s, quite a few in their 40s. And right now we've got 133 horses, 3 miniature donkeys, and a Zorse.
Tell us, a Zorts? What's a Zorts?
Well, a Zorse is half zebra and half horse, and her name is Tiger, and she's awesome. She's got basically looking like tiger stripes, but very friendly, really sweet, loves her carrots, loves her apples, and loves her bananas.
Wow. So that must be really a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, it's a great place, and we have actually an open house every Saturday where we invite the public out from 11 to 3. Again, they bring carrots, apples, and bananas. Admission's 2 carrots, but you get to keep them. And you get to walk around the 335 acres, meet all the retirees, and just have a great day being with nature and being with the horses and donkeys.
Now, you were telling me earlier that you have a lot of people that show up on the weekends.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, last weekend we had about 540 people come in. It's a great free day, you know. It's our one way of giving back to the community. So someone that maybe can't afford to go to a park or wants something different to do, they can come here. But it's also an educational experience because for me, the younger generation is the one that's inheriting this planet. And we want to find younger people that love animals, love horses. And for people to understand, like, before you buy that horse, think it through because horses can be 45 years of age. They need constant care. They need Eastern and Western encephalitis, West Nile virus shots. They need worming medication. They need farrier. They need dental. They need vet care. It's a never ending. Every month we have something set up for the horses to get done. It's a big expense. It costs us over $400,000 a year to run the farm. And, you know, anything from fencing to water troughs to tractors that cut the fields or deliver the feed, you know, vet care, even though we get a great discount. It's, you know, hay, especially this time of the year. With the drought, we had to put hay out earlier. And because it was such a drought, they're probably going to run out of hay. So we have to really stock up on it because you never know. It could be, you know, April, you could get a frost, you don't know. And so you got to be prepared just in case.
Wow, it sounds like you got a big operation. Before you, you know, got into moving up here, what was your occupation?
Well, I was a realtor in Fort Lauderdale, actually. And actually, to be honest with you, it wasn't my intention ever to move to Alachua and take over the farm. You know, I really enjoyed my life down there. I like being down by the ocean. I like going out on a boat and being on the intercoastal, and loved all the great places down there. And March 18, 2014, I got a phone call that my father had passed away. So I drove up and to be with my mom a couple weeks, get her settled, and then that turned into a month, and then it was 2 months, and then the next thing I'm sending a pod down to Fort Lauderdale. My friends packed up my house, and it's almost 9 years. I haven't been back down south since.
Wow. So how have you made the change as far as what your day was like before and what's it like now?
Well, I'd say one thing that's really different is I'm going to bed when I used to eat dinner down there because I'd go out for dinner around 9 o'clock down there. Now I'm like in bed by then. And some nights down there I was coming home at like 4 in the morning and I'm getting up at like 4:30 in the morning here. So my whole lifestyle has changed.
So tell me, what is your life like? You say you get up really early. What's your day like?
Well, so I usually get up around 4:30, 5 o'clock. I have my coffee to get started. Look for the emails because we get so many emails, and communication's the key to keeping this place going. Because if somebody's donating or somebody's asking a question or somebody wants to know something, if you don't get back to them right away, I feel like my dad was always like, you have like a day to get to people or write them a letter or something, So that's my first thing. Then we're in the barn by 6 o'clock. We're making up the mashes. We had our barn cat, Shadow. Now we just got 2 weeks ago, a new one just showed up that we named Morris, So I get the cat settled in. Then 7 o'clock, the team comes in. We have our little meeting. And then we're out feeding. We're picking up buckets. We're putting out hay. We're fixing fences, fixing water troughs. So, every day is kind of adventure there because you can plan whatever you want for the week, but you got to be very flexible because you could wake up and there could be a huge oak tree blocking the roadway. So now you're spending your day, doing that or something. Or there might be a horse down. You're waiting for the vet to come or something. So, but every day is kind of an adventure out there. But it's a great adventure for me.
Well, it sounds like you don't get bored.
Never get bored there. You have no time to get bored. And we've got the most incredible volunteers out of any place I've ever seen in my life. We have so many dedicated people, which it takes to run that place. You got to have awesome volunteers, and I got such a great team working there.
I want you to talk a little bit about the volunteers, and if some of our viewers and listeners want to get involved, how do they get involved?
Well, we have groups that come out on Sundays. Right now, all our Sundays are booked through March, but Monday through Friday, we always need help out there. If somebody wants to come out, maybe help paint, fix fences, pull weeds, work on golf carts, clean. There's like a million things to do out there. So I always tell volunteers when they first come, if you come out and I ask you to do something, if it's something you don't want to do, let me know because I want this to be like your Zen place. You know what I mean? So I want you to enjoy what you're doing. And so I've got these awesome, retired guys. Some come out and do fencing. Some get on the tractors and drag. Some mow. So there's always different projects to do. So if somebody wants to learn more about it, they can email us at themillcreekfarm.org or go to our Facebook page, Retirement Home for Horses. And I'd love to fill them in on that.
So we got millcreekfarm.org.
Yep,
one.
Yep.
And then your Facebook page is what?
Retirement Home for Horses.
Retirement Home for Horses. So this sounds like a really upscale retirement home.
Well, I don't know if it's an upscale retirement home, but for us, if you have 4 legs on that farm, you've got it made. If you've got 2, you're working, man. We get so many people saying, I wish I was a horse, you know what I mean? So it's like, we want to, because we really believe in it, man. We're dedicated to this mission,
So let's talk about the aging process for horses because your horses are all 20 years over. I know a little bit about horses. When I was a kid, I went to overnight camp and we rode horses every day, and that was my favorite activity. And when I became a father, my daughter got into being a hunter jumper, and actually. One of the barns that she, kept her horse at was out there in Alachua. And so I started seeing all that was involved. It wasn't like, buy a horse and that's all you're going to have to spend.
Right, exactly. That's just the beginning. You bought the horse, you know what I mean?
I know. Well, at first we tried to rent the horse, right?
Oh, yeah.
And my daughter would have none of that because she wanted to, make sure she had her own horse whenever she needed it.
Mm-hmm.
because there's a special connection
Absolutely.
between the rider and the horse. So
There is. I agree with that.
So the horses, though, that we were around were, younger horses.
Sure, exactly.
Now, you said about 20 years old is the youngest horse you have?
Yeah, so the military and police horses, we might go down to about 17 years of age because there's very few 20-year-old police horses. They work a lot. So so I'd say by the time they're 17, 18, that's when they usually retire them to us. But all the other horses that were seized by law enforcement or other frontline rescue groups are at least 20.
Okay, so what happens is people don't neglect the horse, they don't take care of them, or they're mean to them, or they do things that bring them to the attention of law enforcement.
Exactly. So it'd either be law enforcement or animal control or something like that. So again, we don't take horses from private owners. Otherwise, we'd have 1,000 people lined up wanting to bring their horse to us.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm sure people are going to be listening to our podcast and they're going to be going, "Hey, Paul."
Yeah, can we bring our horse?
Go-
We wish we could help every horse, you know what I mean? But that's not our mission.
So your criteria is that horses that have been abused or neglected and police horses.
Yeah, police horse. So, and we only work with either law enforcement or other frontline rescued 501c3 nonprofits. That's the only time we work with horses.
Is there a reason why you do it that way?
Well, because first of all, we want to know it's like a legitimate case. And two is, a lot of times you get people saying, I rescued this horse, or I'm a rescue that are really not a rescue. And, it's just a way to get their horse in. So we just really want to work with one, because we research it. We want to make sure you're a legitimate rescue, you're a legitimate nonprofit. And because, again, it's all about the horse, but we can't, again, take in everybody's horse.
Right. You were saying, yeah, you're at about 140 now. Your capacity's about 150.
Yeah.
So that, you always want to have, room for a couple more.
Yeah, and my thing is I love getting the horses. Well, first off, people are like, "Oh my God, you must be so mad when you hear the stories about where the horse came from." I'm like, you know what? I don't even think about that. I think about once they come through the gate. And I love the ones that have never known love or hadn't known love in a long time, that are scared of humans, and then 3 months, 6 months, a year later, they come up to you at the fence, you can pet them, you know what I mean? They've learned to trust again, you know what I mean? And you see that look in their eye all right, not all humans are bad, you know what I mean? So that's the thing that I love the most, is just seeing an animal turn around and just, be the horse that they were.
Do you have any stories about some of your favorite horses?
Well, God, it's hard to say a favorite horse. Well, of course, I love our little donkey that is Shamrock, who everyone every Saturday asks if they're pregnant, and I always say, no, he's not. He's just fat. You know what I mean? He's just a big fat donkey with a great-looking little ass in the back.
How old is he?
He's about 40 right now.
What?
Yeah.
Now, do donkeys live longer than horses?
It's funny you said that, because I was researching it, and from what I see, yes, because I think it's almost like a dachshund will live longer than a Great Dane. Mm-hmm. So I think the smaller they are, they can outlive so a donkey, I'm sure, will live longer than a Percheron or a big, huge draft horse or something like that.
Well, so tell us some stories about horses, whether you're, no matter what. I want to hear a story.
Okay, so one of them was Apollo, who came from the Broward County Sheriff's Office. And so we put him in a pasture with a bunch of mares, and we put him in with his friend, Greystoke, who they worked together. And the next morning we go there, and all the fence boards are broken down, and he's gone. And across the farm, there's fence boards down, and he's in this other pasture. So we're like, okay, listen, you want to move. So we fix the fence boards. Next day, those fence boards are broken down, breaks into another one. So this goes on for a month. He's all over the farm, all over the place. Eventually, he breaks back into the original pasture, and that's where he stayed at now for the last 11 years,
He found his
he found his place.
He
you know
just
what I mean?
wanted to check out the other
The grass
hotels.
is always
in
greener.
town.
Yeah, he wanted to see, is this better, and is this more spacious? Is there something better over here? And he said, nah, because the first one was the right one, Absolutely.
Wow. So how many different fenced areas do you have out there?
We have about 43 pastures, all ranging anywhere from an acre up to 20 acres. Mm-hmm. Because some of the horses, maybe with arthritis, we want to make it where they can get to their shelter easy, and they can get to their water, and they're not walking huge distances and stuff.
Okay. Now, so the vets come out? Do they, if say a horse has arthritis, we're dealing it with arthritis with our 14-year-old Labradoodle now.
Yeah.
Charlie is, we live in a 2-story house, so he had to climb up the second floor. So now we had, those little fences you put up for kids so that
so
they
he can't get up the stairs, so he doesn't have to go all the way up and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have him on Previcox, or what do you have him on right now?
I think so.
Yeah.
The vet prescribes it.
That's what we get. Something it's an anti-inflammatory and pain reliever, so it gives them, so they're not aching, but it relieves their joints and stuff. So I'd say out of like the 140 horses we have, probably 60 of them are on medication of some sort or another. It's a full-time job. I have 3 girls that all they do is horse health and wellness. It's going on all day long. Horses have abscesses. We have to soak their feet. Some have rain rot. Some, have eye infections. Some it could be anything. Some dry hair, skin conditions. So it's always something going on. So we're constantly out doing medication and just making sure they've got the best life they can have.
It sounds like a lot of the, large vets come and help out.
Well, so our vet is Eric Hires from Kanapaha Veterinary Services, and he's also on our board of directors. And I love it because I can email him or message him or text him a video of a horse and get advice from him. You know what I mean? Like where he doesn't have to come out, and he does that like free of charge for me and stuff. So I can always. I find in life you need to surround yourself with people smarter than you. So I surround myself with our awesome farrier or awesome vet or awesome dental guy. So I have people I can talk to make sure everything's going right.
And we're in, horse country.
Yeah,
in North Central Florida. I mean, Ocala, they call it the horse capital of the world. And, of course, World Equestrian Center. Have you been out there?
I haven't been down there yet. I'm definitely going to go there.
Oh, man.
I hear it's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, now those are the, horses that are young and great shape and, really, performing. And, they're like the athletes, right?
Absolutely.
So it's amazing that they spent $1 billion creating the Walt Disney World Center for Horses.
I know. I've heard great things about it. I know a lot of people that have visited our farm that have been down there and stuff like that.
So now let's go over again for people to get involved. What are things that people that want to volunteer can do?
Okay, so. Well, one thing is, if you want to come out and see the farm so you can kind of see what we do there, I recommend coming out Saturday between 11 and 3. Bring the carrots, apples, bananas, walk around, see the farm. And that's usually how we get a lot of volunteers, because someone might be like, I like working on fencing, or I like painting, or I don't mind working like in the yard, or I don't mind, fixing this, or I could work on shelters, or I want to work with the horses, or, I like pressure washing things or something. So I always say, come out to the farm, check it out. I'm always we have a little welcome kiosk where we welcome everybody in. I'm always there every Saturday, so we can sit and talk after you visit. If you want to get involved helping us, we have a sponsor a horse program where you can go to our website, learn more about that. You can make a donation. You can share our page. You can share our Facebook page, let more people know about it.
Yeah. So here's our newsletter, the Mill Creek Gazette. It's got a very homey look to it, Gazette is kind of an older phrase.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that's where we try to go with that.
Rather than newsletter, right? And it's really kind of cool. You have Welcome Peyton. So Peyton,
he's our newest guy that arrived with us last month.
A 23-year-old thoroughbred. He was rescued 8 years ago by Faith Equine Rescue, and after rehabilitation, he was adopted out as a companion horse since he was not able to be ridden due to a knee injury. And then he was returned to Faith Equine when he was no longer needed. So you're, I guess, Dawn Bazemore.
Yeah. We work with her. She's a 501c3 nonprofit. And actually, we were being a little nice in that one. But to be honest with you, the woman got the horse as a companion horse. And she had to put her horse down, and she said, if you don't take the horse back, I'm going to put Peyton down.
Oh, my God.
So Dawn called us if she didn't have room at her rescue. So I don't like to always say it, but every once in a while you do have to let people know that there's not such great people out there.
Well, put it this way. there's heartbreaking stories. And look, all I can say is, the idea of, putting a horse down when they don't, when they still have a life to
Right.
live.
And it might take you some work to figure it out, to find a place. You know what I mean? Just take the time. Because, you can even like turn horses into sheriff's departments and stuff like that.
Well, let me
Animal
ask you
rescues.
this. Assume that, you have somebody that has a horse and because of life circumstances, they just can't take care of him anymore. Not, something happened.
Yeah, I get
in
that
their
all the
life.
time. And I have a rescue link I send to them. And everyone I've sent this rescue link, it lists all the retirement and rescue facilities in the country. You can narrow it down to Florida. It takes a lot of work on their end because they got to look through what those people's missions are. But if you're really serious about finding a home for your horse, this rescue link will really help out.
Okay.
But it takes a lot of time and energy, I mean, our thing is, if you open up our website, our first statement says we don't take horses from private owners, but you still get a lot of people asking, and I'm okay with that because I know they want to find a home for their horse, So we'll share that with them because we want them to try to find a good outcome, But really, again, we can't deviate from the mission from one person to another, so we've really got to stay focused at where we get the horses from. Again, we wish we could help everybody.
Yeah, well, and it's really amazing. Your mom and dad started this.
They're amazing, I'll tell you, man. And my mom, she just turned 90.
Yeah.
And she is out and about all day long on her golf cart with her little rescue dachshund Minnie, making sure everything's going great around the farm, tossing the carrots to the horses, working on her plants. Oh, she's amazing.
Well, that's great. My mother-in-law just turned 90 2 weeks ago.
Amazing.
And she lives with us, and she really, she's old, I guess, by some standards. However, since as I get older, I think she's younger and younger.
That's how I feel about it, too. I used to be the youngest guy in the room, and now all of a sudden, like, oh, my God, now I'm the oldest guy,
Well, your mom's 90, so that may indicate that you might be around for a while.
I think we have good genes. We do kind of live a long time in my family. We turn gray early, but we live long.
Yeah. So anyhow, I want to, again, tell people what they need to do if they want to come out on a Saturday.
Okay, so you can Google retirement home for horses. Again, we're just down from Santa Fe High School off of 441. You turn right on County Road 235A. You go 2.5 miles. The entrance is on the right.
But you're going to give them a map so they can get there.
Oh yeah, they can
on
go
your website.
Yeah, absolutely. We got detailed instructions. Go to millcreekfarm.org, and have a visitor information. And there's actually a map of the farm while you're there and a map to get you there. So to kind of give you an idea.
Now, do you have to pre-register or just show up?
No, you just show up. It's great. You just come in. There's plenty of places to park. Bring carrots, apples, and bananas. We have a little apple coring station by the welcome area. And you just slice up the apples because we just want them to be smaller pieces for the horses.
Right.
Bring bananas. You peel them for some of the horses. And then carrots. Those are the three things you bring. And it's you'll have a great time. And kids love it. Older people love it. And last year we paved all the way around the farm. So if you're in a wheelchair, you can get around. If you're on a lark, you can get around.
Oh, wow.
You're in a stroller, you're not going to be struggling through the sand anymore. So we wanted to make it accessible to everyone.
Now, what kind of shoes should I wear when I come out?
I'd wear sneakers.
Okay.
Not dress shoes.
Old
or
sneakers.
sandals. Yeah.
Old sneakers.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, something comfortable walking shoes.
Comfortable old sneakers is what Paul recommends.
Yeah, because it's 335 acres. So we have all the paved areas going around the farm. And I always say that, maybe the wife loves horses, but the husband loves birds or trees or something. And we have lots of nature trails that are unpaved to walk through.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
So my dad was one of the founders of the Alachua Conservation Trust, and this is one of the first properties that could put under the trust. So it can never be built up upon. It's always going to have a conservation easement. So we are also a wildlife sanctuary. We work closely with Tom Kay at Alachua Conservation Trust. So we want to ensure that all the trees are protected, all the animals are protected, as well as the horses.
Well, listen, we've run out of time, Paul. However, one last plug. The Mill Creek Farm, okay, go to retirementhomehorses.com or
On Facebook.
On Facebook.
Retirement Home for Horses on Facebook and millcreekfarm.org For the website.
For the website. Okay. And let's, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to bring my wife, Patricia. We're going to have a blast at the Mill Creek Farm. So let's support this great organization. Thank you very much, Paul Gregory, for joining us on Meldon Law and Friends.